Hello and welcome back to another episode of my developer commentary of Harbinger. We're at the victory area. The lake's down there. You can't really see it because I'm on 6 chunk render distance, but that's the price we pay, I suppose. I've done some stuff off camera. I went and moved all of my shulker boxes and temporary storage and everything and consolidated it here. Did some food farming as well, and so now we're pretty set. I'll show you some of that in a moment. Kind of got some wood and some blocks and everything. I don't know why I'm lagging so much. Yeah, some mob drops. Kind of got all of my tools in here, blocks, more armor, coal. Went and mined some coal in the Tower of Night area, so there's a teleporter that takes you pretty much back there, and I went and mined some coal, got some cobblestone as well, not a huge amount but enough. Yeah, so that's that. I also set up my enchanting table and the bookshelves, so we managed to get a couple of better picks, and I don't think I actually enchanted any of this armor here, but yeah, we've got that. This chest is just here for that, and lapis and stuff goes in there. Right, so let's just head over to the farms and I'll show you that quickly. So yeah, we've got some, I think these are potatoes growing, carrots, wheat, and there's one more wheat, I think, down there, or maybe those are the potatoes and these are the wheat. Either way, yeah, so we've got these. I've been just farming those up a bit. There's not too much reason to have all the carrots, but still, you know, it's handy, I guess. Always good to have spare food. And if I do, well, there is gold later in the map, so you can make golden carrots as probably the best food source. Definitely in the map, possibly in the game. I think you do also get access to pork chops, so if you can be bothered to farm pigs, you can have those as well. Right, so let's just replant these, and then having said we didn't really need them, we'll replant them. So this teleporter takes us back to in section 1. It's a bit of a long dig if I recall correctly, but I'll show you where this comes out, just in case you're particularly desperate to cheat. Yeah, I think I was quite careful when I put this teleporter in that you wouldn't accidentally find it, but probably too careful, to be honest, because you end up having to dig probably 30 blocks or something this way, but it'll be a good chance to, yeah, so, you know, here we are. This is the first intersection, and let's just check if we left anything here. I don't think I did, really. Anything in the furnace? We'll take the furnace, I suppose. Save us some cobblestone. Nothing in here. But yeah, and there's also another teleport that takes you into the Tower of Night area, so I'll show you that quickly. Just to show kind of how I got all of my resources together. Stop being lazy and just giving myself torches. Right. Yeah, so if you come down here, this one takes you to Sundance Resort. There's not really any point to go back there unless you want to farm leather. But by this point in the map, you probably have plenty of leather. And basically, there's a teleporter to every train station in the map. So there's one in yellow that you could use. There's not really any reason you would go back to yellow. I could also mine the walls of this for coal. So, you know, I can do that as well if I need more coal. And just to show where this goes, this comes out. There was a chest there that I looted. And this comes out here. So if you go across this bridge and then across the other bridge, you're at the cave area, which has stone and coal for you to mine. Right, so that is going to be it for kind of updates on things I did off camera. So now I think we should head into the next area, and let's just come up here and drop off our coal, if I remember which chest it's in. Yeah, there we go. And I want to grab a few extra torches, I think, because I tend to get through them pretty quickly. Dump off these. Should probably have just stopped recording for a second whilst I did this, but we're done now. We'll take some extra. Well, actually, no, there's quite a lot of blocks up there. If you want to grab them, I can't remember where this teleporter goes, but I'm going to jump on it anyway to see. Oh, so this just brings you down near some of the other farms. Yeah. So the next area is, I'm going to have to bump up my render distance slightly because it's quite big and quite empty at times. Empty insofar as it is literally a void area. Yeah, I am running Sodium, and I installed Sodium in order to record this developer commentary, but I haven't actually noticed a huge difference in frame rate, unfortunately, which is a bit of a shame. Yeah, so this bench, if you want to sit here and kind of overlook there's a chest here which has some various different green items in. And then we come up here, which is our kind of transition area, transition pathway to the next area. So the Jaws of Victory is that way, and Flight Rock Forest is this one. It's lagging a bit, but hopefully it kind of stops. Would be ideal. There's more blocks here, which is why I didn't grab any more. We won't have to do any bridging in this version of the map. I don't know why the lag is quite this bad. I will probably drop it down to six chunks again, but let's deal with this spawner first. And if we come over here, we get some coal and some ender pearls. So my original idea with this area was basically that you would ender pearl between the islands, and there's more. I'll take the wood, I suppose. Yeah, the original idea was that you would ender pearl between the islands, and I wanted it to be that would be how you'd get around, and they are all close enough that you can do that, and every island gives you, I think, 2 ender pearls. Here is the grey box. But effectively, people didn't use the ender pearls. They ended up bridging, which I understand why, but that isn't a very fun way to play the area. Like, I'm not saying they were wrong in doing that. I didn't realise that the area would push people in that direction quite so much. I thought people would be more averse to bridging and therefore would be happy to take the risk of ender pearling. I also probably should have worked out a command block system that would allow you infinite ender pearls rather than just giving out a lot of them, but hey, next time, I suppose. But yeah, let's just increase our render distance a little bit whilst we look at the area, even though I'm kind of completely stopping and starting. It might be worth uninstalling Sodium and seeing if that makes a difference, but maybe I just need to restart my computer. Right, so this is probably the best I can do for you. So there's a lot of different islands. This is one of the most heavily updated areas between 1.0 and 1.1, and I think it's a really fun update. I think it makes it a lot more playable, a lot more diverse, and not necessarily that much more difficult. So you can see all these floating islands, obviously, have different biomes on, effectively, and so you've got a swamp, you've got a jungle, tundra, mesa, dark oak forest, and a floating ship where you can see there's a couple of these around as well. So just by adding that different visual element, it just makes the whole area a lot more interesting, I think. And yeah, one of the biggest and best changes between the original was that in the original all of the islands were just like that one and that one. So good change, good feedback on people who said it was boring, and also just like I'm glad that people were bridging and I decided that was bad. I think the teleport system I added is a much better system for approaching this. What I'm going to do though is grab the bed from the grey box for two reasons. Because I haven't set my spawn. I was going to take it with me, but I'm actually just going to leave it on this boat and set my spawn here. And right, let's drop my video settings back down, and we'll just play on 6, and you can imagine it for yourself. It's usually fine when I'm not recording, but I think just recording puts a bit too much of a strain on my computer. Let me sleep. There's actually not too much point doing this, I've just remembered. But yeah, so you probably don't want to be approaching this area at night because it is open to the sky. However, A, no natural spawns, and B, there is some hidden. There's a bit of a hidden command block rather than having. Because one problem with having daylight cycle on, and I like having the daylight cycle on. I think it makes it feel more like regular Minecraft. But having the daylight cycle on means that a lot of areas that are open to the sky just get completely nerfed by this lag is horrendous. I don't know what's causing it to be quite this bad. But yeah, by having it open to the sky, obviously a lot of your areas get sort of nerfed when it's daylight, and all the player has to do is sleep, and it will be yeah, and the area becomes pretty trivial. So one way I got around that was by adding a command block that sets it to just before sunset when you teleport to the first island. And so what that does is if the player sleeps and sets it to daytime, my thinking was that they would set it to daytime before they start the area, and then they would be stuck because... Or then it would quickly turn to nighttime, and they wouldn't necessarily have a bed with them. And so even though they had planned reasonably well, it wouldn't be enough, basically. It would still have the effect of being an open air area at nighttime, even if they decided to sleep through. Right, so let's illustrate this point by using the teleporter that I've been talking about. Yeah, so there's various different like purple blocks like this in this formation, and if you step here it will traverse the flight rock forest. So what it does, just teleports you like this, and you can see it's now suddenly daytime, but it won't be for long. And stuff like this spawner will not cause you much of a problem because yeah, it just won't. See, these are some of the trees. Oh, I forgot to put the spawner there so it could actually spawn. So these trees are some of the ones that are in the tree repository, I think. So, you know, if you want to get your hands on these trees, they are available. And just this kind of, yeah, I really like the trees, the snow and everything. I think this is quite a fun island, but not too challenging. And that's sort of the theme of the area. Fun, but not too challenging. Right, this is the Mesa Island. Yeah, I thought there was a spawner around here. I think that was a husk spawner. More blocks, more ender pearls. I guess I'll take them because otherwise I will forget them later. I'm not going to come back for them. Right, let's move on to the next island. This one is the Nether Island. I'm going to have to stop recording because I'm just freezing up too much. I think it's every time I use a teleporter, it has to basically suddenly reload loads of new chunks. So I'm going to stop recording because I can't fight like this, really. Yeah, so there's a teleporter there if you want to carry on. I'm going to stop recording, restart my computer, and I'll be back in just a moment for you, and probably a little longer for me. So I have restarted my computer and let it kind of cool down and think about what it's done. So hopefully now we have a slightly less laggy experience. I don't think it's the map, but it may be the map, who knows. Yeah, we should get some lights on here though before any more of those wither skeletons spawn. I think there might be a spawner down here. Yeah. So generally most of the spawners are kind of tucked into slightly darker sections so that they can still have some effect. But yeah, we get to see this area at night at least, and it's cranking out zombie pigmen, but thankfully they're not aggressive. So we should be fine as long as we don't accidentally hit one. Let's get rid of the spawner though. And there's another teleporter down there, which I believe is the optional path, is the one that's slightly further away, because I think people will assume it's the one that's closer. There we go. Get rid of you. And right. Yeah, so this is the jungle, which we saw from the boat up there, so we're not far from where we started. There's two jungle islands actually, but this is the first one, and it has a little bit of loot on it, I think. We may be able to get some use out of this stone sword. So we get some Feather Falling 4 boots. I think I'm going to keep on my Beldroth's boots because Feather Falling 2 is still decent, and the Protection 2 and the better base armor is probably all just makes it worth it. Right, let's just get out of here. Yeah, those were pressure plates, but I ended up switching them out for buttons just because then you don't have to deal with mobs triggering them, and even if you're using @P, mobs can trigger them and then send a nearby player away when you don't want them to. Right, and let's come up this way, and we're on the next island, another Mesa Island. This time though we have to fight our way down like so. Let's just block this off because there's a spawner in there, I'm pretty sure, and I don't really want to die. It's not on my to-do list particularly, although it wasn't any of the other 3 times either. Yeah, so I think the zombies I can hear are all spawned in the area I blocked off, and this one spawner didn't cause us too much trouble. Right, phantoms. Yeah, I forgot I had phantom spawners in this area. I think phantoms are turned off in the map. Or the Insomnia game rule, I think I meant to turn it off. Maybe it's not, because I can't remember when that got released, whether it was a 1.16 thing. More blocks if you want them. And here it splits into 2. So we're going to go left path first, I think. Which will take us not to the wall, but to... if you swim up there, there's not a huge amount up in that section. But yeah, I think this one takes us to the iron and the next intersection. So if you wanted to make a husk farm, I guess this isn't a bad place to do it. You've got 3 spawners and a good chunk of pretty good food there as well. Let's just take the experience. It's probably of more use to me than just lighting them up. Right. And in here, yeah, at this point, regular zombies don't offer much threat. They're just a bit annoying because they take off your armor. And this is meant to be like a miniature desert temple, so you have to dig down in the middle to get to the next bit. I did think about just leaving it and hoping that the player would dig down themselves, but ended up taking out a block just because I didn't want people getting stuck. Oh no, this does lead to the wool, so I'm getting my wires crossed there, and also getting more phantoms. They do only spawn at night, so these are one of the actual nighttime only things. Because they spawn on zombies. Phantom spawners don't work in 1.15 or 1.15. So let's get rid of these. I hate phantoms. But I think because this area doesn't offer that much challenge otherwise, I think it's fine. Oh yeah, so this is the island with the wool in, but there is also a little bonus area here where I think there is a chest, yes, and some lapis. So let's just use this to get rid of some of the junk in our inventory. And we're up to over a stack of ender pearls at this point. And we did get some iron as well, so that's a good start. But spoiler alert, there is a lot more iron in this area. Right. So now let's go and get the wool quickly. I didn't even know that spawner was there, but I'm glad that we have got rid of it. Oh, that was a higher risk jump than I realised. I do not back myself to have the required reaction times to get an ender pearl off to survive a drop like that either. Yeah, so in a previous version this was all void biome, so I wouldn't get the good grass colours or something, but because of the switch to natural spawns disabled, I got to use the actual biomes I wanted to do. In 1.16 I would be able to achieve both because you can do 3D biomes, so the underground, which is the, let's see how much these do, about half and a heart, so they're pretty strong but not ridiculous. Similar to the strays in the previous area, if not slightly stronger. And the one thing I would like is a water bucket, but I do not think I've found one as yet. I don't think I was meant to find this bit when I did, but there we go. Right, let's build a little stairway down. Oh, where did he come from? More ceiling spawners. Okay, let's retreat somewhat and heal up. Whew. That got pretty hairy pretty quickly. I think what I need to do is block off some of these corridors. So let's just do that for now. I can hear lots of spiders, which I presume are tracking me through the walls, because that's what they do. So there are these 4 coloured trails. So initially this was just a normal maze, but I think it was too mazy, I decided, and so put in these like little hints, and they're not. There's no clue in the colour of it. You just have to kind of look down each one, and one of them has the wool at the end. But there's pretty decent loot at the end of each trail, even if it's not exactly what you're looking for. So I think it's quite. I actually quite like this as a method to do. Okay. Not so big a fan of seeing that many guys all at once. I think it's quite a nice method of doing a maze where you actually have to explore everything, but also the player is less likely to get lost. I'm dead. I'm done. I'm just so dead. Those are much harder hitting than I expected. I thought I could take on 2 of them, but actually there were 3. That was not very sensible. Thankfully we set our spawn here, but that's not too much use because I need to go back down to the my base. So I'll re-gear and I'll be back in a second. Okay, we're back on the island, and I don't know if I checked this chest the first time. I did, apparently, but we should. The good thing is that I think I lit up the spawner, so hopefully we don't have too many problems getting back there, and because hopefully all of the miners will have despawned by now. I brought a shulker box with me just to. I can't remember what was in there. I brought a shulker box with me just to make it easier to pick up all my stuff. So hopefully we don't have too many problems and we can just get rid of this. Let's looks like the yellow branch is a pretty short one, so we shouldn't have any issues really with this. I can hear blazes and spiders and all sorts of bad things, but we do get some Unbreaking 3 books and a lot of lapis, so that's good, I suppose. Right, let's dump off everything in here. And I think I picked everything up. No, I did not. I was like, thought I was missing some things. But there we go. Right, let's put everything in here. Swap you out. Okay, that is more stuff than I thought I had. Well, let's get rid of some of this junk then. You and you can go, and you and you. And we'll take you. I'm conscious that I'm spawning lots of things as I'm doing this, so I'll see how I'm doing. We'll keep Spider Slayer around for now, I guess. Just dump off all of this. Take the iron chest plate. Right, so now we need to get rid of you and somehow pick up just the shulker box. Yes, perfect. Right. So I'm going to leave the shulker box near the entrance rather than have to go all the way back to this starting area. So let's put this here, I guess. And let's take on orange, I suppose. Which I think may be the way of the wool. I hate when creepers do this, where they like walk around a corner and you know they're still there, but you just don't know which corners they are actually in. There we go. sometimes they also just don't see you, which has its benefits sometimes. Right. Let's get across here. And more grey stuff. Let's take the bed, because it might help us with... The bed might help us with when we're back outside and we just want to skip through the night quickly. There we go. And that is a cave spider, which is not what I wanted to see. This is actually one of my favourite dungeons in the map, just because I think it's like it does the claustrophobic thing that I was going for with the pink wool dungeon, but it just does that a lot better, effectively. And I like the exploration that you're forced to do. I think the length feels good because you have these 4 different branches that you can go down, and it's not as if any of them are like... It's not as if any of them are very long, so it doesn't feel like you're playing the same dungeon for this length of time, but you are still... we'll wear the gold chestplate, why not? I don't actually think it's better than the iron one, but protection 4 is good, and mending is nice as well. Yeah, and it feels like a sort of old-style CTM dungeon, but in a good way, rather than... whereas pink feels like an old-style CTM dungeon in that it's not very polished, and it is not very well paced, and bits of it aren't particularly fun. I think those are all things that you can say about some older CTM maps. Whereas this, I think, is fun, but it's fun in the ways that... it's fun in the right ways. It's not... It's challenging, and it evokes that older feeling without necessarily just having the frustrations that come with older maps, if that makes sense. I'm not particularly good at articulating the differences there, but, you know, I'm trying. Right, let's come down here, like this. I think this is actually the wool one, light blue. So what I think I'm going to do is just leave it, actually, and come back to this one, and do that one last, because it is the way I'm eventually meant to go. Right, let's come up here. Apparently that was not the way, or apparently we've skipped a section here.